You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Our prisons, the largest prison system in the world, are filled with those who are the victims of poverty. The women who are disenfranchised, young teenage mothers, are victims of poverty. Poverty is knocking at our door all day long. It sits in the mirror for us to look in every morning. When we look at what's going on with the schools in this country, we build more prisons than we build schools. Poverty is in our face all day long. Why is everybody behaving all of a sudden like this is some great revelation? We are angry, we're upset, we look around for some comfort, and we don't find any. Well, we have to look to ourselves, because I think the last frontier of truth and hope in this country are the people themselves.
Assalamu alaikum, family. I'm Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. You're tuned into the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. I've got two very special guests tonight, and we're going to be talking about nation building. These two guests are very special to me because, okay, I said I wasn't going to say this, but they're my babies. So I want you to sit back. I'm going to get all our little commercials out of the way because you got to tune into this conversation. We're going to be talking about nation building. We're going to be talking about walking into their authenticity and how that will impact the powerful Black nation that we are focused on and that we are building. So I'll be right back with Sister Madinah and Sister Nyah. So stay tuned. Look, get you a pen and paper because this is going to be a good one. We'll be right back.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? envisioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
Assalamu alaikum. We're back and you're tuned into the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. We're going to get right to it. Listen, I know you all have probably, let me lean in so y'all can understand where I'm coming from. I know you all have probably checked out the series that we've done on the show on the accomplishments of the Muslims. One of the things that is so important to me is that we begin to calibrate ourselves, not only to our beloved teachings and align ourselves with Almighty God Allah, but to calibrate ourselves to the accomplishments of the Muslims. Because I was blessed to hear that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad created those accomplishments and built those businesses. The minister said to me one day, I was really stressing a little bit over the businesses and trying to recapture the businesses for the house, for the restoration of the home. And he said, oh, don't worry about the businesses, sister. That was just an example. And I took that to mean that that was a template. It's something we must study. And so I've gone into some extensive studying of comparing and contrasting the economy and some of the instructions to really create a guideline. And one thing that is so very important is the development of our youth, how they fold into the evolution of our nation, and most importantly, how we support and love them through the process of evolving into leadership. So I'm going to bring on two of my favorite sisters, Sister Madinah and Sister Nyah. Yes, these are my babies. Y'all know I don't have any children, so I cuffed them from their parents, and so they're mine now. And I'm going to bring them on and we're going to have a beautiful discussion. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam.
Sister Medina, congratulations. Y'all, Medina is actually my goddaughter. It was her mother and her grandparents that brought me into the nation. And I say to you, Medina, I'm so proud of you. I'm so honored to be connected to you. I'm so honored to know you before you were born. And tell us a little bit about your degree and what you are planning on doing a little bit next.
Yes, ma'am. I have a degree, finally, praise due to Allah, in neuroscience. And I began studying neuroscience, which is the study of the brain. I began studying neuroscience. That was my interest because I was interested in how the rearing of young Black children affects how they grow up and the decisions that they make. So I said, you know what? Let me just go study the scientific meaning behind that. And once I get my degree and continue to get my further degrees, let me use that knowledge and apply it to our community now and put it in a way that can be palatable enough for the people in our community so that we can understand the things that we experience, the traumas that we face, and how we can overcome those things and work to become a better quality of people and treat each other better. So essentially with my degree, I do plan on using that knowledge that I gained doing my research in our specific community, specifically in Chicago, but then of course branching out to see what traumas are we experiencing, what things ail us, and then how does that affect our decision making, how does that affect the crime rate, literacy rate, all those different things, and then what can we do, also applying the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad with the scientific facts that I learned from doing certain research. How can I use those things to bring it back to the community in a way that would help benefit us? I can tell you all day that you're traumatized or you have this mental illness or you are struggling with this, but I want to really change the narrative and break those curses in our generation that come with people suffering in silence for not understanding why they are the way they are. So
that's a beautiful study, Medina, because the science of the mind is everything. And the reason why it also is important is because the job that has been done on us as Black people to reshape and mold our mind to where now it's on automatic pilot. No one has to do anything. So we really have to inject some science, some behavioral changes, and really go to work. I always say it's like you got to hack your mind.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Sister Nyah, what say you? Tell us about your major and what your thoughts are for the future.
Yes, ma'am. So I majored in architecture, so I'm officially an architectural designer. All praises due to Allah.
Yes.
And the reason why I went into architecture is because growing up in the nation, we're always taught about service, serving others with our lives, serving Allah with our lives, and in turn, serving others. And so, as I went through the different kinds of engineering, I found myself lastly with architectural engineering, and I settled on the architectural side of architectural engineering, which is the design portion of it. And so, what I intend to do with my degree is eventually go back to grad school. I'm working for 1 year. And as to become an architect, there's three things that you need. You need to have a master's degree, you need to have 3,700 something hours in six different categories,
Mm-hmm.
have six exams in those six categories. So I plan to work full time for a year, knock out some of those hours, then go back to grad school while also working. And inshallah, by the time I complete grad school, I will have my master's, all my hours done, and I can just take those six exams and be licensed. And then when I am a licensed architect, then I will finally be able to do what it is that I initially went into the field to do, which is assist our people in the design of our communities. Um, I've learned over the years that what you see on a daily basis affects how you feel, and it affects the way that you feel about yourself, the way
Mm-hmm.
that you look at yourself. If you wake up every day, you go outside, there's trash on your block, you have an empty lot right next to your house that's overgrown. How does that make you feel about yourself? And I also know that within our communities, if we would like to see something, if we would like to have hospitals, we would have like to have schools, gas stations, and more restaurants of our own, we're going to have to design that ourselves.
Right.
If we really wanted it, and which we have, we cannot rely on anyone external to our community to build and design for us. So, inshallah, I will be able to assist with the design for our nation and for our communities.
That's beautiful. So I'm seeing like city planning and development and really revitalizing communities. That's amazing. So both of y'all just graduated this past Saturday.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah.
Let me get my shameless dig in here. So, in listening to you all, first off, send notice to your mothers, Sister Marlo and Sister Lisa, that I got it from here. I'm taking y'all because you all are an extension of my personality. Because one of the things that I ended up focusing on in my business is the mind and the mindset of an entrepreneur and all of those mental that we need. Uh-oh, got a little echo. I don't know why. Maybe that's me. And then, Sister Nyah, as you know, for me in developing real estate and business, I'm huge on design. And so I'm listening to you and I was like, okay, these are really my daughters. Okay, I got it. So I'm excited to hear you all thinking about what's next for the future, because oftentimes when young students graduate like you, it's right in this period right here where the mistakes are made, because we forget about what's next and we start thinking about and looking at what's in front of us. And it's that time of freedom. You know, we've been away at school and now we're home and we feel like, look, I'm out. I get to do what I want to do. But this is a time for you all to really continue your focus and to continue to surround yourself with people who support your focus. Any plans for the summer, either of you?
Yes, ma'am. I have some really big plans, actually. I was blessed to have secured a job at a firm called Beehive. It's a Black-owned firm. So shout out to my mentor, Brian Hudson, and Dion Lucas for inviting me to the firm. And I will say that the only reason I got this position was because I networked. I spoke up and I talked to people because I invited my mentor to my final presentation last semester, and he asked me what I planned on doing after school. And I told him working for you. And I was just invited on the team. All praises due to Allah. So I will start late June or early July. And in the meantime, I'll be working on my business.
Okay, good. And what's your business?
My business is called Eternally Embracing Earth, shortened to eProduce. It is a small, locally grown organic produce business, which inshallah soon I will be having produce over the next couple months to sell.
Nice. And I'm sure you're going to design some nice displays.
Of course, yes, ma'am.
Oh, Nyah served as an architectural intern, and she and I had to really, I think it was probably an interesting project for you, because I know for me, because it's one of those projects, it's something that's never been done before. So we were just kind of running around the city and just kind of grappling, trying to put our arms around preserving this architecture that is within the home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and really understanding what it means. And so I'm grateful that you got an opportunity to spend time on that, because it's good to see what those kind of startup struggles are. Because one thing to go, I went from college straight into corporate America, so everything was kind of already set up. So it wasn't until I came into the nation and started trying to build stuff that I was like, whoa, you mean I got to make that myself as well? So I think you got a good balance, and inshallah, I'll be tapping you over the summer in your off hours for some other things. Sister Medina, what are your summer plans?
This summer, I'm trying to make sure I stay busy. I'm putting out fillers for internships and just trying to make sure I have enough experience for all the things that I want to do. I'm trying to build my resume. So that's really what I'm trying to do this summer. I'm also trying to tap into my creative juices on the writing side and do some things like that. I might do some stuff for Final Call. I might do some stuff for other magazines. I'm really just trying to take all the things that I feel like I'm passionate about and that I'm good at, and really put those things to the test and see which one really guides me in that direction. But definitely trying to build my resume so that when it is time for me to go back to grad school, I can get the money for grad school, because I have a good enough resume and a good enough, like Nyah said, it's really important to network, good enough connections to get those letters of rec, so that it can really be smooth sailing when it's time for me to continue on that path.
So you're looking for an internship. We should probably talk. We have also forged a way into, and I'm now sitting on quite a few boards that both may benefit both of you. So I'll continue to think about tapping you for that, because I also think it's important that, you know, people who look like you, think like you, also try to help to bring you along and expose you. There's a few architectural and preservation boards that I'm now sitting on. There's people that are building and developing as a result of what we're doing there at the house. And Medina, you've helped me out at the events this, last summer and summer before last. So we got some more things coming up. but we're really starting to be the vanguard for preservation, not only in Chicago, but in Illinois. And so it's starting to bubble. And I'll tell you guys about some of that stuff offline. You know, one of the things that worried me a lot when you all were both in school, and I didn't say it to you because I didn't want to put the energy on you. I just prayed about it. But I want to talk about what it's like to be a Muslim woman on campus because what I worry about, because I know how buck wild things were on campus when I was there, and I know how tempting it was. I did pretty good about not getting too involved, but I dibbled and dabbled and hung out a little bit. But I just was worried about that. And not only that, it's not always safe. So we'll start with you, Medina. Talk to me about your experience as a young college student and as a Muslim woman on campus and how you kind of kept yourself focused.
For me, I started college young. I had just turned 16 when I started college. So of course, it wasn't even me being a Muslim woman. Initially, it was me being like 3 years younger than every single person there. I wasn't even going to fit into any social settings. People didn't know my age, but I always knew my age. So I was like, oh, this
That
18
happened to me when I was a year older than you, Medina. I was 17. And when I got up on campus, I felt that probably saved me. You're probably right. Because I wasn't 21. I couldn't really kick it with the people who were worldly. So I know exactly what you mean.
Right. Like I knew my age. So I was a little timid when I first joined college. But my name was Medina Muhammad. And I was in that process. I was ironing my clothes every day. I was wearing tunics and scarves, and I was walking around and making sure I got dressed. Meanwhile, everybody else is just wearing whatever. I mean, it's college. Sometimes you just have to walk around how you walk around. But I was visibly Medina Muhammad. And it probably would have been much easier for a person like me to stray away if I didn't feel like I had the obligation to. Not obligations as I'm being forced, obligations because that I was registered. I made a decision and I made a commitment to the Nation of Islam. And it became even more real when I dormed with other Muslims who were not a part of the Nation of Islam. And I felt like I'm a representative. What they know and what they see from the nation, what they know and what they perceive of the nation is from looking at me. So I can't be out here trying to have one foot in and one foot out. You know, I don't judge anybody else's path, but that made me more strong in my foundation because I felt responsible. I was like, people say a person has probably never read the Quran, but they see you. You know, so I'm striving to be a reflection of what I've taught, what I've been taught, how I've been raised, you know, how I've been reared, my last name. And that kind of helped me as a Black Muslim woman on campus because I was blessed to dorm with Muslim people. But we had multiple conversations in our time together about the nation and their views on the nation. And at first it started from, how are y'all not different from a cult? Who is Elijah Muhammad? What is
Really
this on church? You know, and as I kept on being myself, as I kept on pushing the narrative on my social media, which they followed, you know, playing the minister when I'm in the shower just so they can hear some good stuff. They're asking me about things. That idea of them thinking the nation was a cult shifted as I continued to just be myself. And it actually forced me to be further in my studies because if you're going to try to debate me, I have to know something. I have to be well versed in something so I don't just seem like I'm spitting out dogma and I don't know what I'm talking about. So all those different factors made me feel like, you know, people go to college and they make excuses for themselves and that's fine. You know, that's their path. But as Medina Muhammad, 15 minutes away from Mas Mariam, I'm not sure I can make those decisions with my life, knowing how vital it seems that I am in this position, being able to be a representation, a striving representation of what the Nation of Islam is to people who've never seen anybody from the Nation of Islam. So that's my experience.
Yes, I understand that. Sister Nyah, tell us about your experience.
Yes, ma'am. My experience was 100% different from Medina's experience. I came in at 17 and I went to public school for high school, so all my friends were already older than me. I started at 16 and then I turned 17 2 months in. So I was used to being around people who were older than me.
Mhm.
And thankfully, Allah guided me. Um, I was on my own journey, of course, but thankfully, Allah guided me back to the teachings uh, of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
Mhm.
which led to me getting interested in Islam and the Nation of Islam for myself. Because growing up as a young woman in the Nation of Islam, my mother being a Muslim, my father not, I experienced two sides of it. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's each of our individual choices of
Yeah.
what we are going to do with our lives, how we're going to live our lives, and if we're going to strive to submit our will to do the will of God. And so, thankfully, in high school, junior year, something led me back to the teachings, which led me closer and closer to my relationship with the Nation of Islam. And
Mhm.
of course, that stuck with me, praise be to Allah.
Mhm.
So, I got registered in my first year of college, a couple months in the February. So, I started in fall and I got registered in February. Leading up to, I didn't want to get registered unless I was going to be 100%, like Medina said. If I'm saying that I am going to be a registered member of the Nation of Islam, I need to commit myself to this. It's not
Mhm.
having one foot in, one foot out. After I get registered, it's no more partying for me. It's no more doing all these other things that I was doing. I'm going to cover my hair every time I leave my house.
Mhm.
It's that kind of thing for me. And of course, it's a process, but I, when I get involved in something, I'm very serious about it.
Yeah.
I like to really devote myself to it. So I can say, up until I got registered, I went to a couple parties. I had fun. Never anything crazy, of course, but I
Sure.
had fun. All my friends were older than me. They knew I was young, but nobody ever asked questions, and that was that. And so I had my fun until I got registered, and I got registered, and I said, I'm not doing that again. I'm done with all of that. And I really strive to present myself as who I claimed myself to be. Because when I got registered, then I'm telling everybody, oh, I'm a Muslim. I'm
Mhm.
a Muslim. And I can very proudly say that. I come to school, my head is covered.
Mhm.
And throughout my journey of being a better Muslim after getting registered, I stopped cursing. So all the people I went to college with, they have never heard me curse
Mhm.
ever. And I'm not sure exactly what else it is, but I went to school every day striving to properly represent what it is an NGT, a woman in the Nation of Islam is. And I can say that I think I did a good job, praise be to Allah, because as the only second, there was only one other Muslim woman besides me in the College of Architecture, but she wasn't a Muslim in the Nation of Islam. So
Yeah.
that means if I'm representing the Nation of Islam, I need to be even better in my representation because there's
Mhm.
another Muslim sister here. She covers her head every day. So if I'm just representing the Nation of Islam and I'm the only person here, that means that, like Medina stated, whatever they know about the Nation of Islam, they're going to base that on me and how I present myself. So I
Okay.
need to be 100% in how I present myself. And so, junior year, I actually started to wear my headpiece to school.
Mhm.
I wore my headpiece to my presentation.
Mhm.
And when senior year came along, I started wearing my headpiece to school, to like
Mhm.
every event that I presented in. And a lot of people would say things to me um, about just the way that I presented myself when they would let me know that they haven't met anybody like this before. Like they haven't seen anybody like this. And to
Mhm.
me, it was just like, wow, that's so crazy because in the Nation of Islam, I know there's so many people like myself who
Right.
know how to articulate themselves, like Medina, for example. And that's just because of the environment that we were raised in. Being
Mhm.
someone in the nation in school in an environment where you're the only one there, there's an obvious distinction between you and everyone else. And I don't mean that in a negative way towards them, but
Mhm.
it's literally the way that our brains are made to function, the
Right.
way
Mhm.
that we're taught to do things. I was the president of two different architectural organizations um, throughout my college years, And that was because I was able to speak, I was able to communicate, and I was serious about doing things. And I got that seriousness from being in the nation. And I think I may have gone off topic a little bit here,
Oh, you're fine,
but
because I wanted you to express that, because here's the thing. As you matriculate through life as a Muslim woman, you have to figure out who you are and how you still represent, still have fun, still have friends, still be an ambassador. And you have to figure out what works best. And so just hearing you all talk about, what I'm hearing is that your authenticity, both of you, being your authentic selves, made you attractive. And I remember years ago, I think the minister came to the Vanguard class and he told us, he said something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing, but our authentic self, our authenticity is our passport, if you will. This is how we're going to matriculate through life. If Allah came into this world through us, we're not here by mistakes. So there's something different about Nyah, and something different about Madinah, and something special about Sajdah, and each and every one of us. It's important that we continue to go inside of ourselves and study ourselves and be the best representation of ourselves. And so I'm listening to both of you, and I'm just proud to hear that. And my advice for you would be to stay close to one another, uplift one another. And I'm sure you have other young Muslims in your circle. Stay close, because you're going to go through life. You know, life happens and it's going to start happening. But what you want is to have sisters and brothers who you can lean on and who can pull you up and support you when you need it. You all see me with Sister Aletha, and she and I were friends ever since we were your age, and continuously. And so it's just kind of like that person that knows you, that's there, that calls you, that checks on you, that's there for you. You want that. And that's going to help you continue, you know, in your Islam, because, you know, who knows what the future holds? Because you may have, you know, we plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. So just hold on to each other and be happy. Be happy that you have, I can only imagine being on campus and being able to be you all, because you have a standard, you have a way in which that you conduct yourself, you have a way in which you think, that especially nowadays you don't, you know, you don't have, you know, we're and we don't want to be like clean glass. We don't want to be like, we want to be clean glass, dirty glass. We don't want to put anybody else down, but at the same time, we want to be examples.
Yes.
And when we walk into a room, people should be saying, who is that? Oh my God, where's she from? What is, you know, can I meet her? And we always have something good and productive to say. So thank you for your representation on campus. That representation reverberates throughout the world and throughout the community. You know, some people may be looking at this and they may think that it's isolated to just the campus, but I may meet somebody whose daughter or son went to school and saw you all. And so they may be better with me in business because their son or daughter said, no, I went to school with Nyah, or I know Madinah, because that's how it works. That is exactly how it works. Any thoughts, any advice that you all have for younger sisters coming behind you? Because that's the other piece. You all are a real example for, you know, for those young sisters as well.
Yes.
Any
You're
advice?
totally right. Yes, ma'am.
Advice.
I think that the advice that I would give to any young sisters or anybody who's listening, whatever you feel like Allah is calling you to do, don't let anybody bring you off of that. Like, you know when you're being called to do something, when it's just something that rings in your ear, like every time you're doing it, you just feel the greatest amount of happiness. If it's in righteousness, do it. Everybody is not going to be a doctor or engineer or architect or anything, you know, But whatever you're being called to do, success will come if that's the path for you. Money will come if that's the path for you. But don't live your life and then you die, and then in their what
I
do you call
wish.
it? In the obituary, it's like, oh yeah, she lived for herself. We all knew she didn't want to be this, but she did it because
Yeah.
auntie told her to. Like,
Yeah.
whatever that you feel like you're made on this earth to do it and step out on faith. And another thing is, you might not know. Like, there are people who are grown adults, 30s, 40s, who still haven't figured out what their purpose on this earth is. So
Mhm.
don't rush yourself. Use this life that we have to further your experience and get any experience that you can in righteousness that can feed you and put you on the right path towards
Mhm.
success. And then whenever you find that thing that you really want to do, that thing that you really feel like is really burning in you, then move forward on that, and Allah will bless you tenfold in whatever that is that you desire. And of course, if it's in righteousness, if it's what you're supposed to be doing, it will automatically help your nation, because you'll be so happy to do it. It'll help everybody you're around. If
Yeah.
you want to be a writer or whatever, a singer, or this or that, a architect, anything, do that. And there's a place for everybody in the nation. People sometimes find it hard to find their place because they're trying to fit into a certain box, but this is not a box. This is
Mhm.
we have the whole entire 196,940,000, and
Mhm.
then some.
Mhm.
So take the opportunity that Allah gives you in this life to find your path, and don't be discouraged when it's not the path that everybody else is on. Everybody else has their own path, and you have your own path, and just continue on that, and you'll be successful.
Thank you for those comments, because the next thing I was going to say to you all, and I'll let you respond to that. I just want to say this. One of the challenges that I had was I didn't fit in a box.
Mhm.
And I am blessed that Allah has put so much of himself in me that there's a lot of stuff I know how to do. But I didn't know how to reconcile that, because I thought I was supposed to just be an accountant, or I was supposed to be just this or that. But what
Mhm.
I learned through being a Muslim, that I can be all that and then some. I'm a God. And
Exactly.
so as a God, my bandwidth is wide and deep. And so if you went to school for something, listen, and I have to say this because oftentimes adults, we don't give enough of ourselves so that you all can see it. I went to school to major in computer engineering.
Mhm.
But I always wanted to be in business. But somebody talked me into majoring into engineering.
Mhm.
I went into that just because people say, "Yo, no, your math and science scores are good." After 2.5 years of being in engineering, getting into the college, I switched over to business. I had so many credits, I ended up getting a finance and accounting degree at the same time. Ended up doing like a dual program, like an extended program.
Mhm.
When I got out, everything that I touched in school that I kind of was thinking, like, do I want to be a psychiatrist? I do today. Whether
Mhm.
it's development, whether it's business, whether it's healthcare, whether it's psychiatry. So the sky is the limit. The thing is for you all to continue to think about developing yourself as a God. Yes, we want to be specialized in something. Yes, we want to go to get our graduate degrees. We want to get our license. We want to tie up those loose ends. But don't limit yourself to
Exactly.
one thing. You are multifaceted gods
Mhm.
that can be, because and the last thing I'll say, and both of you all know this, the types of assignments that Allah is going to give to us,
Mhm.
what would have happened if I only focused on being an accountant?
Right.
Allah couldn't say, develop my home into a museum. He
Mhm.
couldn't say, build a hospital. He couldn't
Mhm.
say that to me because I would have been tunnel visioned.
Exactly.
And I'm not really even tooting my own horn because I didn't plan it that way. But now I can look back and say to you all, plan it that way. You can be good in a lot of things and be your authentic self. Sister Naya, anything you want to say on that?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. And I can bear witness to what you said, because I'm interested in architecture, I'm interested in agriculture, and a multitude of other things. And if I only focused on architecture, I would be quieting the side of myself that is interested in agriculture and interested in growing food for our people and our communities because we don't have access to fresh food like that. And I know that idea was sent from Allah, and
Mhm.
Allah gives us interest in different things, and it's literally up to us to cultivate them. So I
Right.
really appreciate you bringing that up. And I will say my piece of advice to the Muslims who are in school, who will be graduating soon, um, is don't forget about Allah. Allah is your number one. All of your friends, all of your family, they could potentially just be temporary. Inshallah, they won't be, but
Absolutely.
very well could be. But
Very
Allah is not temporary. Allah is with each and every one of us. And
Yeah.
anytime you need assistance, you call on Allah and Allah answers. Allah answers prayers. And I can personally say I would not be successful in architecture if it were not for Allah. Every
Mm.
time that I had to stay up, pull an all-nighter to complete a project, I had to call on Allah for that energy to make it through the night. I had to call on Allah for the success of that project. And Allah, He granted me this success because
Mhm.
I called on Him and I was striving to obtain this degree for Him and for His purpose. And my other thing I would say is to be very intentional with all that you do. Um,
Absolutely.
and I say that because everything happens for a reason, yes, but each of us, we have a choice whether we can do something that could benefit us or somebody else. We have a choice that we could do something that really wouldn't benefit anybody, not even ourselves. Um, so just always be intentional with what you do and strive your best to make the best choice. Allah has blessed us to wake up every day, and every day we have the opportunity to be the best version of ourselves that we possibly can be on that day. So just never forget Allah. Allah is always with you. If you need assistance, Allah is there and He can bless you with the right people that you need in your life to guide you and get you through any tough times that you're going through.
never
Right.
forsake you. Never. So
Never.
aside from, and I would want you all to give me a half a day next week to spend with you all. I'll pick
Hmm.
you up and we'll go a few places. So figure out what day that is and I'll make it work. But
Okay.
I want to ask you personally, and I'll start with you, Nyah. What can I do for you at this stage in your journey? How can I give of myself to you to invest in who you are?
Um,
Face. What is that face about? Does that face mean you got something in mind or what is it?
no, no, I really, I just don't know. I feel like you have invested in me already, and I feel like you as an individual with the content that you create, the videos, with entrepreneurs and just young people, allowing them to talk about themselves. I feel like that is always opportunity and you investing in them, sharing your insight and your wisdom with them and us. Um, I really, I don't know. I have
Well,
no idea.
that's not a one-time offer. Okay. So if you think of something later, if whatever, but I am here to be of service to you. And Medina, I'll ask you, what can I do for you, ma'am?
I also don't know. So.
Okay. That's all right. You'll figure out something. What I would like is if you all give me a half a day next week.
Hmm.
I don't care if we just go to a restaurant and just brainstorm,
Hmm.
talk, whatever you think it is that you may want to talk about or what you don't want to talk about. If you just want to go eat, I want you to know that you have this in me as a sister, as an auntie, somebody to be there for you. And
Hmm.
I want to give that back to you because I navigated so much of my career without that.
Hmm.
Um, just kind of being out there trying to figure it out on my own. And I can't tell you how many times and how nice it would have been to just dial a number and say, hey, what do you think? So, so with that, that's it. I appreciate you all coming on.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Anything you all want to say before we go?
we love you and we appreciate you.
Business directory.
What'd you say?
Support the Black Muslim Business Directory.
Support the Black Muslim Business Directory. Get your commemorative Elijah coins. And yes, Sister Nyah, I love both of you all. And again, that offer stands. That is an open offer. I'm making it publicly. What can I do for you? How can I invest in you? How can I give to you to support? And listen, let me say this last thing. Not only never let go of Allah, never let go of these teachings, and never let go of the mosque. You stay there and you fight for your position, your place. And when I say fight, sometimes we gotta fight ourselves.
Absolutely.
And Allah's gonna move you around. I'm a witness bearer to that he will move you around and you'll be like, what now, Allah? But just keep flowing and keep going with him.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll see you all, inshallah, tomorrow night. And by then we'll come up with our day next week. I need about 3-4 hours. That's all I'm asking for. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes,
I love you all and congratulations.
Walaikum salam. Thank you.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Thank you.
All right. Those are my babies. I'm sorry, I got to say it. So we're going to continue our conversation about nation building and how important it is that we invest in our youth, that we let them know that we're here for them, good, bad, and ugly. They're going to go through life. They're going to make mistakes. And I don't ever want them to feel like their life is over if something happens that doesn't go according to plan or something that they think that we don't like. We're here and we support you 100%. And so you have that, and you have a whole nation behind you. And I'm committing myself to each and every one of you. So with that, thank you for tuning in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. Watch my videos and make sure you support with the next phase of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We're selling the commemorative Elijah coins, and you get one of these embossed leather journals, the next 20 of us. These journals are for you to begin to document your journey, because it's important for us to own and monetize and tell our own story. So this is just a cool journal. If you're like me, you like to put pictures and write notes, but document your journey, document your family's journey, and become urban historic preservationists with me, along with all the other things, or just a preservationist, right? But along with all the other things that you're talented and that you can do. So purchase your commemorative Elijah coin. These are membership coins. With each one of these, you're going to get a membership. And we've got some exciting events coming up this summer as we inch closer and closer to the opening of this beautiful museum. Thank you all. Peace and blessings. Greetings, conscious entrepreneurs. Add the Mind of an Entrepreneur show to your Roku TV lineup and catch up on past episodes of all your favorite Mo Today shows.